Congratulations again to this year's graduates.
No more teachers, no more books, dabbing dudes, and looting crooks.
Hey, whoa, slow down. We haven't even gotten into a house yet.
Yeah, but which one we going for?
How about the brokers?
Look, I didn't graduate from Henson School with one of them cum laude degrees like you did. Them law geeks ain't gonna want nothing to do with me.
It's called magna cum laude, and if I didn't graduate with you, I wouldn't think you graduated.
He's got a point.
I'm not really into labor, but I hear the Riveteers are into smashing things. I could be into that.
No. Cabaret is the only answer. Partay city.
Haven't you gotten that out of your system by now? I'm tired of picking you up off the ground.
Actually, it's a good fit. For him, at least. You can't be brainwashed if you've got no brain.
Hey!
You realize we won't be doing any of those things as peons. We'll basically just be gophers.
Yeah, going for more Halo. No one's got it like the Cabaret.
No.
How about...
No.
But I've got a Halo problem. Not enough of it.
I don't really think Secrets and Shadow is our thing either. So I think Obscura's out.
I agree with that. You two don't know how to keep your mouths shut. So I guess Maestro's it is then?
I don't really understand all that highfalutin art.
But we do understand looting. Eh? Eh?
We are just wasting our time with this conversation.
You may find this interesting.
Ooh, a card. Thanks. Nice graduation gift.
Give that to me, you idiot.
Wait, who is that? I didn't see. You get a good look at him?
I was looking at the cash, weren't you?
Shut up for a second. It's a job offer.
And we're recording. Records. We're recording now.
Yeah.
I probably shouldn't swear.
Yeah, it'd be preferable because that's some editing I have to do.
Okay.
How many swear words have you had to edit out for me?
About 9 total.
Do you keep a count?
No, I just know because it's not that many.
That's 9 total for the entire podcast, or just...
I've had to edit 9 bleeps out.
Oh, okay.
Some of them I removed entirely, but when I count them, it's like I had to insert the beep noise.
Oh, okay.
So you had one, I had one, and then Dave had the rest.
Oh. Mouth sailor over there.
When my wife saw the podcast, she said, "Oh, there's no cussing in your podcast? How are you doing that?"
Lots of beep.
It's like, not well, probably.
Not well.
I hadn't really thought about it.
Welcome to Magic Proving Grounds, the only podcast that tries to prove that every card should be a land. I'm your host, Dave, and with me is your other host, Ben.
Hey, what's up?
And also we have with us today your other host, Other Dave.
It's a lot of others.
I mean, I think he's here. Maybe he's not. You here?
I thought you were talking about the other Dave. I thought you said 3 others. That's my bad.
Oh, yeah. Hey, we don't talk about other Dave.
Does anybody disagree with the fact that lands are like the best cards in Magic?
No, lands are the only card, and they should be the only card.
That's why we got a whole cycle of the dual-faced cards with the lands.
I personally think every card should just be Soul Rings.
Well, then how are you going to pay for the Soul Ring?
Cheated into play. I don't know, man.
Urza Saga. Wait, never mind. That's a land.
First, you have to cheat out a Karn, and then you can play your Soul Ring for free.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
But no, other card games have made it so that any card in your hand or in your deck can be placed face down as a land, and it would solve a lot of the mana fixing issues in Magic without really warping the game, because you're going to want to avoid it if possible. You're not going to want to sacrifice your spells to get a land.
As we see with something like Balaged Recovery, where you can play it as a creature or you can flip it over and play it as a land. You don't want to always make that choice.
Look, I'm going to be real with you guys. I don't want this because about 75% of my wins are because the other guy got mana screwed, and I need to keep my win rate up.
Well, I'm all about it then. Anything that's going to make you play better Magic.
Okay, well, I guess we're on the land train then. What else have you guys been up to this week?
I tried the Explorer format on Arena. which was interesting. I haven't played it enough to really tell if it's any real different from Historic, aside from like the alchemy cards. It seemed okay. I didn't build a new deck because I don't have enough wild cards, but my Golgari food deck, I just needed like a few wild cards to turn it into an Explorer deck. So I messed around with that a little bit, but other than that, typical card shop Magic with the old Murktide.
Venturing out into the wild to play Magic.
Yes. A wild Ben has appeared.
Just walking around trying to
get a pickup game.
Pickup games, Pokemon style.
In the alley.
You been up to anything other, Dave? No? It's okay. You don't have to.
No, my internet is, I think I'm missing some audio.
Do you have my audio?
You should.
Are you doing that on purpose?
Yes. I'm sorry, I couldn't resist.
Back in the day, you used to do podcasts in the same room with somebody.
Oh, back in the pre-COVID days, we just all huddled into a room and breathe on each other, and it was okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Back in the before.
But to answer what I did this week, not that much. I worked a lot. I did buy a couple packs because I wanted to, and I got a foil Showcase Titan of Industry, which I was pretty excited about.
Yeah, the one card you didn't poo-poo on me last week.
The one good card you picked, he loots the Showcase version of.
Yes,
nice.
Foil Showcase.
Ooh, that's a shiny boy. I gotta tell you this story because I too also tried Explorer, ran my mono red deck in the ranked queue.
Yeah. Was it just your straight historic modern red deck? Mono red deck?
Yeah. Well, because I'm a lazy when it comes to building decks and I don't do it. It was the mono red deck that was really good in standard like a year ago. And it's all right in the lower part of the ranked queue, so I still play it.
Is it the one they call Red Deck Wins? That idea?
Oh, every mono red deck.
I say that's all mono red decks.
Fair. Okay.
Lumped them all together now. I assume it's the one.
It's the one with
Seth Mansfield was playing in Worlds.
Maybe, I don't know. I just pulled it off the internet. It was like good deck. But it's the one that's got Fanatical Firebrand in it and Varashino Pyromancer and then all the spectacle cards from the
light up the stage.
Maraschino Firemancer, my favorite lizard to munch on.
Very tasty. So it's like my third game in the queue. I'm like chilling. I'm doing a dramatic retelling because this is the funniest thing that's ever happened to me in my entire life. So I'm like in my bed on my phone, like my wife's sleeping beside me. We finished watching Ozarks and I'm playing, like enter the queue, get in, drop the Fanatical Firebrand, go to my second turn, drop another land, and then throw a Varashino Pyromancer on it. The ETBs, and then I go to select the opponent for the ETB damage, and somehow my palm hits the screen of my phone just right, and I hit myself in the face with that damage. And there's like a delay. Like I'm in my first main phase. I'm like, what the hell just happened? I'm so totally going to lose. This is the biggest noob thing ever. And then I'm like, okay, maybe I can recover, because I thought about conceding right then and there from embarrassment. So I go to my combat phase, and then the opponent just concedes and leaves.
You scared him.
Yeah, the best I could tell is that I freaking like just totally asserted my dominance. He read that as like, this guy's T-posing on me to show me what he's got, and then just quit.
It's like, this guy's overconfident. I'm not going to waste my time.
I was like rolling. I was like, this is the best. Can't wait to tell this story 100 times. It's hands down the best win I've ever won.
Yeah, you should try it more often. See what the stats on it are. The win-loss ratio.
I want you to tell that story exactly 100 more times every week for the next 100 weeks.
It'll get more grandiose each time. All in all, I think Explorer's fun. I've been playing a lot of it this week when I'm not testing for the deck challenge. It's nice to not have to go up against the Arclight Phoenix deck with Faithless looting in it, but also you don't get to Faithless loot. So I think it's going to be a good, solid format moving forward.
I'm excited for Explorer. I'm not a big alchemy fan, so I just want a format that is true to paper, personally.
Well, speaking of alchemy, I am a fan of alchemy in concept and not in practice.
Explain.
Speaking of alchemy, in the news,
ruined the segue.
No,
he had a good segue,
I thought he did the segue.
Then you ran all over it. It's cool.
All right, start over.
You just cut this part out or don't.
Yes, I like Alchemy. It's a really good format. I'm pretty excited for it. Or wait.
Let's not do that all over again. You can just chop it up and order it however you need to.
Oh, fair. Because that takes so little time to do. It's meaningless. It's a trivial amount of time.
All right. Well, we can, whatever you need to do.
I'm just
What are you using to chop up the audio?
An audio program.
What? No f***ing Which audio program?
The Mac one, Logic Pro.
Okay.
It's really easy. It's not that big of a deal. It's just time consuming.
He's just trying to make you feel bad.
I mean, that's his MO.
No, that's your MO.
Well, yeah, because I make you feel so guilty.
No, you just make me feel like an idiot.
Who's
Fair.
the one guilt tripping who right now?
What we is that Other Dave likes alchemy, but only in theory.
Yeah.
Having a format where you can make live changes to cards to make them more viable rather than just outright banning them makes it a healthier format at the end of the day. If it's something that you could do in Paper Magic, it would really kind of revolutionize the format, and you could come up with a way, just like all modern video games balance their characters, to have a really balanced, really fun card game. The problem with that is they don't respect your time with it. If they make a change to a card, they don't provide you with the wild cards, or in the circumstances where they do, it's just wild cards for the change. It doesn't account for the fact that you're probably going to have to build a whole new deck, and that you probably used wild cards to build that deck to begin with.
Yeah, and you can't just burn the old card that they changed you don't need anymore down to dust to create a new card. You can't craft a new card out of the old ones. You have to go grind for more wild cards or spend money.
And don't get me wrong, Paper Magic has that same problem. It's not like this is something that if you were playing Paper Magic, this wouldn't happen. In Paper Magic, your card would just get banned and then it would be worthless and you'd have to spend the money to build a whole new deck.
It feels different, though, because at least I could get $1 or whatever off of the card right after it's banned.
I mean,
or it's good in another format.
Maybe. Or Stoneforge Mystic would beg to differ.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong.
It came back from the brink.
It never became like $1 card or anything, but it took a pretty hefty hit when it got banned in terms of its monetary value.
And same with reprints. When they reprint a card, the monetary value goes down naturally for paper.
Yeah, which is a good thing.
Oh, yeah.
Unless you're somebody who owns the card and all of a sudden has spent $200 to get the card thinking, I'm going to hold on to this. If I ever need to get money out of it, I can.
That does
suck. And then it's not a $200 card anymore.
Hey, it's like playing the stock market.
But also, I think that's what you get for looking at Magic as an investment rather than a game.
Right.
My personal opinion.
Same. I'm I just want to have fun and play cards, which is why when I see big numbers, I go, I guess I'm not doing that. The $50 card, guess I'm doing something else.
Yeah, oof.
And there's some truth to people who view Magic as an investment rather than a game also drive up the value of it. The value of these cards would not get nearly as high if people were not literally investing in them and driving up the price.
Yes, I agree. It's that perceived value, man.
So, yeah, they did some alchemy rebalancing on the blog post, announced cards that were being balanced.
Oh, right. We were talking about alchemy.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Much like alchemy, talking about the economy is way more interesting than talking about alchemy.
Yeah, so if you're an alchemy player, there's a blog post. We'll put the link in the show notes for that, but we're not going to belabor all the changes. I just wanted to point out it's annoying to me that they changed Omnath, Locus of Creation. They alchemied it, and then they rebalanced it again. And if you're trying to play with Omnath, well, Omnath in specific is probably going to be good even with the changes. But if they do this specifically with a bunch of cards over and over time, then you're constantly having to, remove that card because it's no longer fitting the theme or the good of your deck. And then you're now getting more wild cards. And then they rebalance it so it's good now. So now you're putting that card back in, and it's, I don't know. They're walking a fine line here. They could do it right, or they could totally do it wrong. My thoughts are that they're going to do it wrong, and eventually alchemy is going to kind of go the way of the dinosaur.
I do also like the idea of the cards that only work in digital formats that could not possibly work in a paper format.
Oh, yeah, like the ones that have you draft a card from the spellbook.
Yeah, like that. I think the concept there is really cool. And if you're going to have this digital space where you can break rules that can't be applied to paper, I think you should. It's in your best interest to do that. And it's in the enjoyment of the game to do that. But it's really hard to take that into a format and adjust the way that they have been adjusting without providing some kind of recompense whenever somebody has to rebuild over and over and over again.
Right. And I think that was their thing with adding Explorer is that's going to be a non-alchemy format, and they're going to try to phase Historic into like the alchemy format, you know, where they do all the changes and alchemy cards are legal. I don't suspect that standard alchemy is going to last. I think that'll be the first one to go.
Yeah, I've got to pose a question to you guys. Video games in general rebalance stuff all the time. Like Overwatch does it. Various shoot 'em up games fix gunplay mechanics and stuff all the time. Is it because Magic players look at it more from a paper mindset that this is something that salts them up real good? Or is it a thing that just salts people in general?
Yeah, I think that the perspective is that this card is this way, and when you change it, now it's not that way, and I am upset about it. I do think that's the general mindset.
There's two other things to compare it to when you compare it to video games, too. The first is you may change the way a character plays in Overwatch, but I can still play that character at any time without spending extra money. I don't have to rework my entire deck and spend money to get a new deck or spend money to learn a new character. I can just start playing a different character at no cost.
Right.
And then the second thing is those players still get really upset when their character changes.
Yeah, they do. They do.
That is not unique to Magic.
Yeah, and I think if they had a dedicated format that was literally just alchemy, I think eventually people would adopt the mindset of like, okay, this evolves, this changes over time, and they would be less upset when something changes. But again, you're going to have that same problem where you nerfed my thing, you know, which... But I do think, honestly, alchemy is far more money driven than giving player choices driven. So
yeah, I agree with that. The buy into that is so.
As long as Wizards has that mindset of like, we're going to make money off of this first, then I don't think alchemy will catch on like they expect it to catch on.
Yeah, I do. I also feel like the buy-in for Magic Arena sometimes is just too high. I mean, I'm able to create like one deck as a free-to-play player like every season, and that's okay with me. For a lot of people, that's not, and a lot of people don't want to put the time in to have as many wild cards as I do to be able to do that. It's not cost-effective to build a deck in that game with money.
Right. I mean, what is it, 12 wild cards for $50? Or 8 rares and 4 mythics, that's $50 worth. That's like, woof.
I wonder if they looked at actual card prices when they decided on that value. If they were like, you know what, 12 rares and 4 mythics, that sounds like something somebody would spend $50 on in real life.
Yeah, I think somebody did some math somewhere and said you could get a standard deck for about $150 if you consider you have the commons and the uncommons, right? Some A-tier standard deck, maybe not the most expensive one, but like maybe the mono white aggro one. For $150. And that's parity to the price of the cards in paper. The problem is you can sell your cards in paper. Once you claim that wild card, you have that card forever. Like my mono white deck in paper, I can go and sell and turn it into a mono green deck. I can't do that on Alchemy at all. So once I spend those wild cards, that's the $50 I spent. And that's what the problem is that they didn't consider. Or they did and they don't care.
I mean, I agree 100%. I was wondering if that was what they used as the basis for their value or not. Even in MTGO, I'm more accepting of it because you own those cards too, even if you just own them digitally and you can sell them and you can trade them. You can't do that in Arena.
What I'm gleaning from this conversation is that alchemy's good in theory if the economy wasn't so bad.
Yeah, that's how I feel. If they fix their strategy and do alchemy a different way, then it's a good idea, but you got to get around that buy-in price.
I mean, I think with all discussions about Magic, it boils down to one thing, and that's that Wizards of the Coast is greedy.
It's all about the money, baby. I think we've beaten this horse enough.
Oh, it probably will get beaten in subsequent weeks for sure.
For almost.
Please don't dig up dead horses to beat them.
I was going to say, just a disclaimer, no horses were harmed in the making of this podcast, just to be clear.
Mr. Ed's my friend. The next piece and final piece of notable news, in my opinion, for this week is the Pride Across the Multiverse Secret Lair drop. I love this idea. I love the fact that some of the proceeds are going to the Trevor Project, which is the world's largest suicide prevention and crisis intervention organization for LGBTQ young people. I thought maybe we could go and talk about the art and the cards and perceived value. What do you guys think about the art?
I love the art. Is it one artist that does this? I wanted to give a shout out.
It's a collection of artists from the...
yeah, because it doesn't look like the same art style. But yeah, the artists that do this, I dig the art style of this. And what it represents for the LGBT community, too, was really neat.
I think Bearscape might be my favorite art on any Magic card to date.
I agree. It's gotten some controversy from people, but I just look at that card and everybody looks so happy and it makes me smile and it makes me wish I was that happy.
What I love is there's a card that already existed named Bearscape, and in the art there's hot sauna dwelling males with big hairy chests and manscaped beards. It's like they bearscaped themselves.
It sounds to me like if you want to be that happy, you just need to find a hot spring and a big furry guy to cuddle with.
Yeah.
I'm a big furry guy, so maybe I just need a hot spring.
You'll fit right in.
Yeah.
And how about the actual bear just chilling in the background?
I thought that was cute, to be honest. When I saw that, I was like, wait a minute, is that a bear in the background just chilling? How cute.
Oh, and the flavor text is great on that card, too.
I know, right?
They built a refuge with their bare hands, like bear the animal hands.
Nice.
I like it.
So any other pieces of art stick out? Any cards catch your guys' eye or anything you're particularly from this collection?
Yeah, I like Mana Confluence because I was building a Pioneer deck, the Naya Winota deck, and it calls for Mana Confluence, but I was like, I don't really want to spend $40 on a Mana Confluence. I think it was $46. I said, I'll wait for the Triome to see if the Triome breaks into the meta kind of thing. But now that they announced the Secret Lair itself is $40. And that's the price of Mana Confluence already. So you're getting a card worth $40 so that's playable in Pioneer, and then some other cards with great art. That sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely one of the more like value Secret Lairs. I was just looking at one that they announced with like a Death Shadow alternate art and things like that didn't add up to $30, which is fine because you're really paying for the special art, right? But this one seems better to me because I need that Mana Confluence anyway.
Yeah, I like the Soul Ring. I'm not one that's like all about the Secret Lair drops, but this is probably the closest I'm ever going to be to buying one. I haven't decided yet, but I'm like so close.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to get this for the Mana Confluence and the cool art too.
Maybe we can make a deal for that Soul Wing. I'll have to get it. But I kind of want all the arts. This is hard, man. I can't make decisions. I'm so indecisive.
I wish they sold the Bearscapes separately.
Just want all Bearscapes and tokens. That would be the Secret Lair drop for me.
Build a Bearscape deck.
If I got 36 of those, would you let me play a deck that was just 36 Bearscapes and 24 land and call it legal?
Yep.
I mean, sure.
You wouldn't do anything because you would never get cards in your graveyard, but yeah.
Yeah, sure. That would work.
I could figure it out.
Yeah,
I just won't play a land the first turn, and I'll discard my next turn.
There you go.
Building awkward decks out of cards that almost work kind of leads us into our next discussion, as last week's podcast with the deck challenge and stuff got me thinking about Magic cards that exist that might not be great, but people always want to build cards around them. Rule 34-esque type observation I made, where if a card exists, someone has tried to build a deck around it. So I thought we'd have a discussion about that and what you guys thought about the idea.
In my younger years, I tended to be more of a brewer. You know, back in the days of pre-instant access to all internet ever, all you had was a bunch of cards to try to build a deck around. And maybe that was the greatest days of Magic. I don't know. You can still do it today. It's just too easy to get on the internet and look up a deck list, right? But I can remember a specific time when it was the Mirrodin block when Goblin Charbelcher came out. And I was like, I know that this card can win, and I tried the hardest that I could to make it actually really viable and never quite cracked the nut. I'll read the Goblin Charbelcher here for everybody. It's an artifact that costs 4 colorless mana. Pay 3 and tap it to reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a land card. Goblin Charbelcher deals damage equal to the number of non-land cards revealed this way to target creature or player. If the revealed land card was a mountain, Goblin Charbelcher deals double that damage instead. Put the revealed cards on the bottom of your library in any order. So my thoughts about this card were like, okay, I can do massive amounts of damage. I just need to figure out a way to get my lands minimized and out of my deck so that it goes longer before it hits. And of course, you play only mountains and things like that was my thought back then. And it didn't really come together, but Goblin Charbelcher had a very good resurgence in later years after Zendikar printed creature on one side or sorcery or whatever, and then a land on the back side. So it doesn't actually count as a land when it's in your deck. It counts as a creature. So essentially, the modern Goblin Charbelcher deck just allows you, as soon as you activate that, you go through your entire deck and do that much damage because it never hits the land. It's a really good deck. It just, when I tried to brew, it wasn't there yet.
Time solved your problem.
Yes.
Do you have a particular card there, other David?
I'm sorry. Not enough others this time. I thought I was other David.
Oh.
You can, again, just go back to calling me Superior Dave if you want. I'm okay with that. So I had a card originally lined up for this. I actually thought of another one that I got like halfway to building a deck around, which is Psychogenic Probe from the Mirrodin block. And it was whenever a spell or ability causes a player to shuffle his or her library, Psychogenic Probe deals 2 damage to him or her. And I was just going to fill my deck with ways to force the other player to shuffle their library.
Yeah.
Nice.
And try to win that way and just constantly like destroy a land, search for a land type card.
Yeah, so you might be giving them a land, but they're also getting 2 damage.
Right, and just forcing them to constantly shuffle their library.
Yeah, there's a lot of cards that do that. Like there's like some coin flippy cards that make them shuffle if they.
Yeah, there was another artifact in Mirrodin, I believe, that was just tap, target player shuffles their library. I was running that.
Yeah.
But I never quite got it there.
Never got there. Okay, so this is my all-time favorite card in all of Magic, and it's also the one that I've tried to brew. Sit around, thought about it. I think people might have cracked it a little better than I did way back in the day. It's a Glacial Chasm from Ice Age. It's a land, cumulative upkeep, pay 2 life. When it ETBs, sacrifice a land. Creatures you control can't attack. Prevent all damage that would be dealt to you. You know, in my younger days as a aspiring burn player, this really appealed to me. But since that transition, people have used Ion Tower to control how counters are put on it and stuff, so you don't have to deal so much with the cumulative upkeep and then sacrificing it in Crucible of Worlds and stuff. So it works, but it's obviously not a tier deck at this point. But it's my favorite card. When I sold my Magic collection back in the day, I kept all the copies I had of it. It's a nice card.
It's a weird.
It's a very weird card, and that's what I'm talking about. It screams, do something interesting with me, but it never gets there.
There was someone in my group in my college days who used it in a control deck.
Interesting. I had a giant fan to blow counters off of it. Was it Unglued?
Oh, or was yeah. One of the unsets.
One of the first 2 unsets where you move counters with different cards. But then your Silver Border. And have you achieved anything at that point? I don't know. So do you want to see if we can coin a name for this observation where if a card exists, someone will try to brew a deck out of it?
They're a Field of Dreams type card. You know, if you build it, they will come or something. If they make the card, you will build it.
You want to call it the Field of Dreams rule?
Yeah. Field of Dreams rule. We're all dreamers as Magic players. We are all
big dreams.
It is a Field of Dreams Magic card, too. It's from Fallen Empires. Pay 1 blue, enchant world. Top card of each player's library is always face up.
Huh.
Fallen Empires was a weird set.
Yeah, it was. But man, we used to get them cards. Remember we used to get the cards out of the little baseball card machine where you put the quarters in and then you push in and then come out and they come in a cardboard back. Yeah, the cards inside of it. You got so many Elder Dragons from there.
Fallen Empires, the one that was like not even legal even in tier 1 play, or was that Portal? It was Portal, wasn't it?
Portal.
Fallen Empires is the one that they printed into the ground and none of the cards are worth anything. They used to sell when we, like way back in the day. Like, what was the crafty store we used to buy cards at called?
Dude, I don't even know.
There's a craft store in our.
MJ Designs.
No, was it a craft store?
Yep.
Was it? Okay.
Yep.
But they had
like 75-cent packs of cards.
We'd spend our pocket money on 75-cent Fallen Realms cards. Not one of our best decisions, but whatever.
We did not make out on that.
No, we did not. But everybody has those stories. So moving on, we have the challenge that was put forth last week to talk about. Do you want to go over what y'all come up with first, or you want?
Let's set some ground rules, you cheaters here, just so everybody knows what we're doing. We're going to establish it here, so none of you try to pull any fast ones. All right,
I'm not fast at all.
So the rules of this particular challenge is the deck must be built around Bootleggers' stash. It must be standard legal, and when we go to play, we're going to do a best of 3 against each other. And then if at the end there's a tie record for somebody, because we only have 3 people, then we will do a single match as a tiebreaker to declare the winner. So, for example, if I go 0-2 and you guys both go 1-1, then you guys will need to play one single match against each other to decide the ultimate winner.
I mean, I don't understand how the match breakdown is going to go for declaring winner, because I'm easily confused.
Okay, so I'm going to play you, then you're going to play Dave, then Dave's going to play me. And then if one of the records at the end of that is tied, then those 2 people will play a single match to determine the ultimate victor.
Okay, so you get a point for each match. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. You get a point for each match, not individual game, each match.
That's where I was confused. It was like, are we getting points per game or per match?
Yeah, match only.
Okay.
We could use the score theoretically as a tiebreaker and then only have the tiebreaker match if both winners win 2-0.
We could.
Just like in an actual tournament, if someone goes 2-1, they get ranked below a person who went 2-0.
We could. I do like the idea of there being like one more hype match if it comes down to, you know what I mean?
I'm okay
otherwise
with
it just kind of because otherwise it just kind of fizzles and you're like, well, on a technicality, you win. Because you had a better record.
Yeah, we can just do the tiebreaker match then. That's fine. It was just a thought I had.
There will be no sideboard. The rationale being, if you didn't build the deck to account for the challenge because you knew you were playing against a Bootleggers deck, then you don't get to play the cards. So we're not doing sideboards. The other thing is, this will be live broadcasted, so to make sure that nobody's pulling any cheater moves. And we're doing it on Magic Arena Monday, 1 p.m. from the podcast Twitch channel, which is just simply titled Magic Proving Grounds. Easy to find. We'll have the link to it in the show notes for everybody, as well as our finalized deck lists. So Monday, May 9th, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Hold up. We're broadcasting this live.
Yeah, why wouldn't we?
This is brand. So my original plan to bribe other Dave with $50 to let me win his match isn't going to work. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's not.
I have PayPal, and you can message me.
Well, if you guys are playing funky, I'm going to be there, and I'm going to know.
You won't. I'm too good for you to recognize when I'm throwing a match.
Damn. And I'm too stupid for you to recognize what's going on. I think we could still maybe work this out. No, obviously, I'm kidding. This is a bit. Got to keep the sanctity of the game up.
Yeah, I'm totally cutting out the part that you said this is a bit because,
man.
Anyway, who wants to go first?
I think since it's your challenge and I don't like talking.
Okay, fair. You got me there. My idea about the deck is I'm going to get Bootlegger's stash out, create a whole bunch of treasure tokens, and fire off the ultimate for Halo Fountain. How I'm going to achieve this is by cards from New Capenna mostly and Forgotten Realms because they seem to have a lot of treasure stuff. I'm going to use the card Zorn to create a ton of treasure tokens. It's 1 red, 2 colorless, 3/2 creature elemental. If you would create 1 or more treasure tokens, instead create those tokens plus an additional treasure token, which then when I tap a land from Bootlegger stash, I will get 2 treasures from. And then the way I'm going to get 15 creatures to create Halo Fountain Ultimate is Stimulus Package. 2 colorless, 1 red, 1 green. From New Capenna, it's an enchantment. When Stimulus Package enters the battlefield, create 2 treasure tokens. Sacrifice a treasure. Create a 1/1 green and white citizen creature token. And that's the basic no-frills rundown of my deck. Don't want to give too much away. Any thoughts?
Yeah, it sucks.
Well,
Well, that will be determined later.
I'll just go on a limb and say, like, I really wanted to do the Halo Fountain thing, but I thought it was going to suck, so I didn't.
Full disclosure, it's probably going to suck. But if I can ult the Halo Fountain, I'm okay.
Okay, so I guess I'll give the rundown on my deck next, and then Superior Dave can go after that. I'm kind of on the same game plan you are as far as token generation goes. Got the Zorns, got the Gallagreeters. There's also a handful of other cards I'm not going to go into that do incidental treasure token generation, and then Stimulus Package to turn them into the treasure tokens into creatures. And then I have 2 paths to glory in my deck. One is Devilish Valet, which is a 2 and a red devil creature that's got Alliance. When creature ETBs double its power each time, and it starts out as a 1/3. So you can, with a lot of tokens, you can really get up there pretty big. No. It's also got trample, which is important because, you don't want to get
and haste.
And haste, yes, I forgot about that.
I might be in trouble.
Yeah. So that's path to glory number 1, the preferred path, because it makes some big smashies to the face. And then I also have Witty Roastmaster, which is a 2 and a red, 3/1, I think. It doesn't matter because 3/2. Okay.
Yep.
Doesn't matter because you're not really attacking with this, because what you want is its Alliance ability that deals 1 damage to each opponent every time a creature comes into play. So you're basically, every time you use Stimulus Package to create a token, you're doing 1 damage to the opposing player.
Oof.
So
this would be a good commander card because it's each opponent.
Yeah, definitely a commander plant in that one. Boy, it stuck out to me. I like it. That's kind of where I'm at. And then, like I said, incidental token generation for ramping into Bootleggers Stash, because 6 is quite the mana cost to try to get into quickly.
Yeah, actually, the hardest part of me developing this deck was figuring out the early game, because the late game was easy. It's figuring out how to get to that Bootlegger Stash that was the harder part of this.
It's amazing how much you can take control of a game when you have 15 creatures on the board.
Yeah, or like 30 mana in treasure tokens. Like, it's insane.
So what's your game plan there, Superior Dave?
So I am going Naya colors also using Stimulus Package to create tokens, but I'm leaning more into I guess you're also leaning into Alliance, but I'm leaning into different parts of it. My plan is to use Jetmer and then to go wide instead of going tall and try and swing with as many tokens from Stimulus Package as possible. Also using Jenny Faye to make my tokens 2/2 haste cats instead of 1/1s, so I can come at you the turn that I make them.
Nice.
I'll read Jetmir off here real quick, just for clarity.
Here, I have it up.
Okay.
Creatures you control get +1/+0 and have vigilance as long as you control 3 or more creatures. Creatures you control get +1/+0 and have trample as long as you control 6 or more creatures. Creatures you control get +1/+0 and have double strike as long as you control 9 or more creatures. He is a 5/4 for 1 white, 1 green, 1 red, and 1 colorless.
Yep, and that's Jetmir.
And then Jenny Faye is the hybrid. You can either use red or green, 1 green, and then you can either use a green or a white. And she says whenever you would create 1 or more tokens, you instead create that many 2/2 green cat tokens with haste or that many 3/1 green dog creatures with vigilance.
Oh boy. You don't even really need Stimulus Package. I mean, it'll help, but like when you create your treasure token, it just turns into a cat.
Yes.
Correct.
Oh boy.
Unless he's got...
Or a dog. You can choose a dog too.
And then, did you put Zorn in your deck? Are you doubling up tokens too, or no?
I had him written down, but I had not actually put him in it yet. I probably will put him in.
Yeah, he's value.
He really is. I actually had Jenny Faye in my deck in one of my builds, but I cut her because she wasn't really doing what I wanted anyways. Because having the dogs and the cats to attack with when you're not planning on attacking with them, so to speak, wasn't really worth the additional triggers. You have to go through, because My goodness, I don't know if you guys have experienced this way playtesting this deck on Arena, but it is unforgiving with the amount of triggers it produces.
Yes.
It's just like I was like the last game I played because I was playtesting the build I decided on like last night. It was like midnight, playing against Sparky, so this is a bot test. But I had like 70 tokens that I was using Stimulus Package to turn into creatures. And I had so many stacks trying to resolve, so many triggers on the stack trying to resolve it once I was falling asleep while they were resolving. I happened to wake up and to keep it going.
I have too many.
I promise that we will not take prop bets on who will time out first during one of their turns and lose the match, and that bet will not be $50 placed by the other Dave, and that the bet will not be that I will lose to him.
We're doing this in the afternoon and not 12 o'clock. I will not fall asleep, probably.
I've played games with you in the middle of the day. You tend to fall asleep.
Back when we used to play WoW and I was the cleric and I'd fall asleep in the dungeon, it's probably the worst.
Yeah, because you're healing.
Probably the worst position I've ever put you in.
When you run headfirst into a trap in D&D online, that was your own dumb fault.
or WoW, when we would queue for random dungeons, and Ben would be the tank and I'd be the healer, so we'd always pop. And then I'd start falling asleep because it'd be like 2 a.m. and he'd have to. People would try to boo me, and then he'd have to leave.
Yep.
Good times.
So just be like drop group. All right, so that's our decks. That's the challenge. I'm ready to get you guys, beat you into the ground. Actually, just, I don't know, if you, Ultimate the Halo Fountain, is it just like covering you in a bunch of angel juice? Is that, and then you just die? Is that how it works?
It just makes an angel smoothie, and you transcend to heaven.
Oh, yeah, you're like, this is some good shit, and you just quit the game. I'm done. Got all my needs met.
It's like, I have transcended this mortal coil as you evaporate into heaven. That's how it works, I'm sure.
Sounds about right. So if you guys want to watch that, Monday, May 9th, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, we will start the festivities off. Go to twitch.tv/Magic Proving Grounds. You can also follow us on Twitter at MPGPod. We'll put live announcements for when we go live there as well. Plus, you get other little bits. And the decks will be posted online through Mox Field and MTG Goldfish, but we'll also have the links in the show notes there, so you can just give them a one-over while you're watching or beforehand. Other than that, I think that's it.
That's the challenge, yeah.
And next week we'll talk about the results. You know, give the crown to me, because I'm going to win.
Unlikely.
Oh, I thought he was joking. I was trying
to laugh. It's being serious, guys. I'm gonna
Didn't we get an email that covers the subject?
Anonymous emailer writes. I'm sorry.
What does it say?
It says, Ben sucks. He really sucks.
Well,
listen, that is not polite, okay? I'm the only person who can tell Ben he sucks.
Yeah. Wait, no. Hold on. I think that something's amiss here. Anyway, if you have emails, you can send it to show@magicprovinggrounds.com. Give us a heads up. Ask us some questions. We like food, and angel smoothies.
And treasure tokens.
So if you want to talk about food, you want to talk about magic, you want to talk about anything, send it.
Whoever wrote that email, I hope you choke on your angel smoothie and transcend to heaven.
Yeah, I'm just going to Halo Fountain alt all over you as payback for that emailer.
Sounds really gross, to be honest.
It does.
It's angel smoothies, man. Liquid angels. It's good.
All
That's
right.
what we call it now.
Where can you be found on the interwebs?
You can see me personally on Twitter, and I can relay the messages to these chuckleheads at Be Nice MPG on Twitter.
Or you could just do the podcast account for me. I've stolen the keys to it, and we'll try really hard not to yell at people on Twitter.
Don't get our account banned.
But, Ben might have to change the password again if stuff gets heated.
Yeah, and not tell you this time.
Yeah. You should have told me to begin with, to be perfectly
Heavy is the head that wears the crown.
That's going to be me next week with the crown.
I'm going to more like it.
I'm going to swing by the Burger King and pick you up a little paper crown for whoever wins. Put it on stream. Crown you.
Yeah, there you go.
Nice.
Do they still do that?
I have no, dude. To know that, I would have had to walk inside a Dairy Queen, Dairy Queen. We're all about the food monarchs here. Burger King, sometime in the last 2 years, to know if they still give out paper crowns.
Fair.
Do the inside of fast food restaurants exist anymore?
It's like a Schrodinger's restaurant.
Yeah.
I always used to go inside of restaurants. I hate drive-thrus, and now I don't remember what the inside of fast food restaurants look like.
Or smells like.
It smells like sadness and despair.
They still smell like death and sadness. Yeah.
This is going long in the tooth. I'm just going to assume that other Dave is still unfindable on the internet, and we'll go ahead and close this one out for the.
That is correct. I am invisible.
He's gone incognito mode.
Just look for the guy on the corner in the fedora and the trench coat. That's other Dave. Peace.
See you next week. We're waiting to hear your new intro theme song.
Yes, it's based on the Friends theme song because we're all friends here. So no one told you that you're. No, hold on. So no one told you that you won't be on the play.
You forgot.
You
to
can
clap.
edit this. I clapped. My microphone probably just didn't pick it up.
Oh yes.
I'll start all over again. I should really have written this down.
Yes.
Let me just read it. I didn't write it down. Hold on. I'll write it down right here. Okay, so here's the song. So no one told you that you won't be on the play. Your hand's a joke. Draw's broke. Your mana's DOA. It's always like you get... It's like you're always... Oh, hold on. It's like you always get blown out by days when it hasn't been your match, your game, or even your phase. I'll be there for you through the 1,000-year storm. I'll be there for you like Raw's been there before. I'll be there for you because you're there for him too. Ooh.